but I at least knew we wouldn't be on the street. And I'm also a Gemini, so I kind of just be moving. So I was kind of like, you know what? Once I set my mind to something, I get tunnel vision, and then that's where my focus is. So I leap. That's just been me my whole life. I try to take what I call structural leaps. Like I plan, and then I leap. So yeah, I just left the work that I was doing, and then I learned as much as I could, and then I just started doing small things behind the scenes. And then one day I was like, this is time.
Welcome to the Let's Talk Money Honey podcast with me, Khadija Bingham, where we spill the tea on entrepreneurship. The sweet, the sour, and most importantly, we're talking money, honey. I am extremely excited for today's episode. Today we have with us Christina, who is also a client of Money Honey Financial. So I am excited to bring you her. We're going to listen to her story. We're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about therapy. We're going to get into all the goods. Christina, can you please tell the people about you, who you are, what you do?
Sure. So my name is Christina. I own a private practice called Rising Hope Therapy. I've been in practice now for about 8 years. I'm also an educator. I teach psychology at Wilmington University.
You do?
Yes.
That's cool.
Well, I teach in the psychology department, so I teach a couple things.
Okay.
Yeah, and my passion is all things mental health.
Awesome. I love that. I had no idea that you were... I had to talk to you about that afterwards. For some tax purposes.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
So, Christina, every episode we kick it off with our sweet moments of entrepreneurship and our sour moments of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So, could you share with us a sweet moment that you've had throughout your time of entrepreneurship?
I think the confidence when you see what you're doing start to be successful. And where you didn't think you could go at one point, or you questioned yourself, and then you look back and you're like, oh, I did that. Oh, I did that. And I did that. And you keep going. So I think that growth has been probably the sweetest moment.
I love that, because I just had a conversation with someone recently, and we were talking about my perspective of confidence. They asked me if I was confident in something, and I'm like, I feel like confidence is earned. Like, after you have seen success at something over and over, you become more confident in it. So I love that.
Yeah.
What's a sour moment for us?
Finances, understanding numbers.
That's
Thank
real.
God I met you. Like just having an understanding of running a business, even if that wasn't specifically what your field was. So it's like getting an MBA real quick because I'm a therapist.
Literally.
So I still need to have that business education.
Literally.
Yeah.
No, that's real for sure. It's like the money. Nobody talks about it. But it's okay, because we're talking about it today.
Yes.
On the Let's Talk Money Honey podcast. So, Christina, we'll get into our money moment. So I have been trying to do money moments as a rapid fire, but it has not worked.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to give it up. And we're just going to use the money moment to guide the conversation throughout the entire episode, right?
Okay.
So let's kick it off. This one's just probably going to be pretty quick. What's the most amount of money your business has ever made in 1 month?
$100K.
What?
Yes.
$100,000?
Yes.
In 1 month?
Yes.
Wow.
Not at the beginning, but yes.
Wow.
And it's not every month, but there are months where we hit 100K. Yeah.
I love that.
I do too. I just want more of them.
I know, right? You're like, I need $100,000 every month.
Yes. Plus. Yeah.
Which month this year was your highest revenue month?
May.
May?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is?
I think probably it's like almost going into summertime. So everybody's kind of trying to figure things out, especially we see a lot of students as well.
Okay.
And then summertime, people kind of ease in because they're on vacation. They're doing other things. Holiday time, they're doing a bunch of stuff. Okay. But May, everybody needs therapy in May, it seems. Yeah.
Okay, so I know you'd be looking forward to May. I guess maybe you're busier too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So probably I would say from February to May.
That's your busy. Oh, that
exactly.
Sounds like me. I'm like January to April. That's our busy season.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Christina, so what was your salary before you decided to start your own business?
$45,000.
And then, I know the answer to this already. Are you able to pay yourself that each year?
Yes. Yes.
And how long did it take before you could pay yourself that?
Within the first year of
Within
the
the first
business.
year?
Mm-hmm.
So you were making $45,000, and then you was like, I want to make more money.
Yeah.
You want to start your own business.
And I wanted to have more control over the way that I saw my practice running.
So tell us about that.
Yeah.
Tell us about your transition from working, I'm assuming, in a group practice.
Yeah, it was like nonprofits.
Okay.
I did a little bit of private practice under somebody else, and education field in the school systems.
Okay.
So in those nonprofit school systems, there's a lot of specifics in the way you're allowed to, and also a lot of politics,
Okay.
I would say. So you have to do things the way that they say you have to do them.
Okay.
And if you don't feel like that's helping people in the way that you want, you don't really have that freedom. So I knew private practice is the only way to, one, have the growth, make more money, and also do the work that I wanted to do.
And was it private practice, like your own private practice? Could you not have done that at someone else's private practice?
There's still a cap
Okay.
on how much you can make even there because of depending on what their pay scale is.
Okay.
So if they're paying you percentages, if they're paying you an actual hourly rate or session rate, it's still not going to be the same as working for yourself.
Okay. I love that. And then what did you do? How long have you been an entrepreneur?
8 years.
8 years. So do you remember what you did to transition from your 9-to-5 job to working for yourself?
Yeah. So thank God I have an amazing partner who I am married to, and she's amazing. So she gave me a little bit of that kind of, I guess, what would you say?
The cushion?
Not a safety net,
Okay.
right? So I knew at least we wouldn't be on the street.
Okay.
Not to say that she could carry everything by herself, but I at least knew we wouldn't be on the street. And I'm also a Gemini, so I kind of just be moving. So I was kind of like, you know what? Once I set my mind to something, I get tunnel vision, and then that's where my focus is. So I leap. That's just been me my whole life. I try to take what I call structural leaps. Like I've planned, and then I leap. So yeah, I just left the work that I was doing, and then I learned as much as I could, and then I just started doing small things behind the scenes. And then one day I was like, this is time.
And then when you first transitioned out, was it just you?
I had a business partner.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, you had a business. You don't have a business partner anymore.
No. We had both it was really nice, and I felt like it felt like a safety to have somebody that you're doing it with, and you both are like bouncing ideas off of each other. The one thing that nobody thinks about is like the future. How we never talked about where we saw the business going. And then we just both saw different visions from what I was hoping to gain from the business versus what she was hoping to gain. So we worked really well together during that time, but nobody really talks about, okay, so when you get there, then what?
Right.
Did you guys have those conversations? So then that change happened.
Would you start a business with a partner again?
No, not because of that experience, but just because I would like to have a certain level of control of how I see the business operating. And whenever you have like a business partner or anybody else, you want to make sure that you both have that equal vision. And if you don't, then that can cause, just any types of structural things, issues.
That's so interesting. I think you're our first guest that has had a business partner. So what was the transition like when you guys decided to go separate ways?
I think at first it was kind of like a shock. Like, are we going to do this? What is this going to look like? How do you do that when you have a business arrangement with somebody? How do you figure out buyout amounts? Who buys out?
Was that expensive?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. And also just that space of like, how do you split things? Who goes where? What are you buying out? So we had to figure out all of those things. We had a company assist us with that. And then once we figured that out, then, I had to pay that buyout. She was able to use that money to start her own practice or like figure things out from her side. And then I continued on with the Rising Hope Therapy name.
So you technically kept the business, the brand, and everything. And then she went and had to start something new.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you had like your safety net of working with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Once since it was only you're the only CEO. What was that transition like?
I would say it was scary at first because, if anything goes wrong, it's on you, right? Like you don't have anybody to kind of bounce those ideas and figure it out. You have to connect with the right people to get the right knowledge. But then it was also freeing in a way. Like you can only move as fast as whoever is moving the slowest when you're in a group or a business or, a partnership. So this was like freeing. I could just move without necessarily having to make sure that we were both on the same page with things.
And did you guys have employees at this point, or was it just the two of you?
Yes, we did. We had a total of maybe 7 therapists.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, like, did y'all split them too?
We originally did, and then things kind of changed throughout that. Yeah.
Okay.
They changed. But we tried to split everything. We try to be as equal as possible. You can take half of all the furniture, half of all the stuff that we like invested in, get the buyout, and then we'll figure out like working and just do new hires too.
Now you got me thinking, like, would I ever
Like have a business partner?
Yeah. Like maybe like a certain business. Like this business, I don't think so.
And if your visions are aligned completely, then I think it's a great thing to have a business partner. It's just when, if you want different things for the future, that's when the challenge occurs.
Do you feel like you had to work harder once you no longer had a business partner?
No, not harder, just differently.
Okay.
Yeah, just differently. Both are hard. Both are hard. It was just a different type of work.
And then how long were you on partnership for?
We're business partners for, oh my gosh, how long? 5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the split is kind of new.
Yeah, so it's been about 3 years. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. All right, let's get back to some money moments. What's your largest business expense? I think this is an easy one.
Well, besides salaries.
No, that's it, right?
Yeah. I was like paying payroll.
We have so many service-based businesses come on. I think everybody except one person was a service-based business. And payroll is always the largest expense. Mm-hmm. What's your largest expense besides payroll?
Rent.
Mm-hmm. So you're actually in a physical space.
I'm in. Yes, we have a physical space, but it's shared with different businesses. So we have our own suite out of that place. Yeah.
Okay. And does wow. All right. So let's back this up a little bit.
Okay, back it up.
So Rising Hope Therapy. Tell us more about it.
So currently we have 19 therapists.
So you manage 19 people.
Plus the rest of the staff.
How many people are on your staff?
Altogether, 24.
Christina, you manage 24 people?
Mm-hmm. With assistants in the business that now I have learned how to delegate. But yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at you right now. I'm like, wow, that's goals. Like, I can't wait until I have 18 accountants under me, and I never got to touch a tax return again. I'm like,
and you will.
1040, what is that?
And you will, but with more people, also that management of like differences, like personalities, and making sure that you have the supports in place for that staff. Mm. Those are the things I had to learn very quickly because I also grew very quickly. COVID times allowed us to grow quickly, and I kind of jumped on that. And we already had virtual capabilities, but then with quick growth comes other things as well. So
were you do you feel like it's easier for you to manage people because you're a therapist? Like, do you feel like you're naturally a people manager?
Yes, I'm the oldest.
Oh, so
of 4 kids, raised by a single mom.
So you're used to it.
I felt like I was the supervisor in the house, anyways. But my supervision style, my managerial style, I would say, is definitely a lot more. There's a word for it, but inclusive. Okay. So I want to utilize the team. I know they have their strengths, and I want to hear what they have to say. Okay. And also, there are certain policies and procedures that we stick by. So
you manage a group practice. You have 18 therapists working under you, 24 staff total. How do you run your business in a way that makes people want to continue to work for you and not leave to go start their own solo practice?
So I think that's the hard part, right? Because I think I also had to learn that some people are going to want to be entrepreneurs, and I am very excited. I feel like there's enough for all of us to do it. Because there is a cap. So if certain people want to make a certain level of money or even to have specialty fields, they usually do go in that route if they're not working under agencies. And then for the people that stay, it's kind of like a team, a family. I want to make sure they always feel fully supported and that I'm listening to them and that they're feeling like their word is also going into how the business growth is happening the same way. So I think we just create a really good team environment with the therapist and making sure we all stay connected. And then for the other people, I will assist. I'll help you. Like if you want to own your own practice, I'm not going to gatekeep. I'm not going to stop you for your clients. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to support you. As long as you go about it the right way, I'm going to support you because I want to see you win.
Going about it the right way?
I would say like giving notice, not like trying to like take clients behind somebody's back, just letting someone know. Like basically from the beginning, I always say like, what's your goals within the next 5 years, 10 years? And if they say maybe owning a private practice, awesome. When you get close,
say that to their boss?
They do. But I also leave space to talk about that. Like, what do you really want? Let's really talk about this. And if they say that, I just ask that when they get closer to that time, let's talk about it so that we can make sure that you leave in a way that your clients are cared for and taken care of and none are abandoned, and that you also have whatever supports you need when you're ready to take that next step.
When people leave, how does that disrupt the business? So when you have a therapist that leaves, how does that impact that $100K in revenue? How does that impact things? Do you automatically have to replace them? Is it fine for people to leave? What does that look like for you?
It depends on how many clients they were seeing. Some, like if somebody leaves and they were full-time, we're going to fill that in a business way because we don't really have room. There's not a lot of room after payroll and expenses for gaps in the amount of money that's coming in. So that's another thing. So being able to like set up another therapist as one therapist is leaving, I like to have some time to do that. You don't always get that. You just make it, you figure it out, you fix the fire. But at that same space, we do get that loss in money. And then we're also, any clients that want to stay, we have to find them new therapists quickly so that they're still being cared for as well.
Are you providing the, how do you market for your business? Like, do you rely on a therapist to bring in clients or people finding you and then you're kind of assigning them to therapists? What does marketing look like for your business?
I think we connect with other medical practices, so like psychiatrists or MDs that have their own practices that would be trying to like get therapists for their clients or their patients. And then we use like online,
so like Therapy for Black Girls.
Therapy for Black Girls, Psychology Today, some of those online platforms. And then now, because we've been in business for a good amount of time in the community, it's word of mouth, which is our biggest always, is word of mouth. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So, Christina, you run this huge practice. Are you still seeing clients?
I still see probably a solid 8. I used to see 25 to 30 a week.
Is that how many clients therapists see?
Full-time is usually around 25 sessions weekly. Part-time is different, but yeah.
Do they come? That feels like heavy work.
It is.
Like to spend 25 to 30 hours.
It's a lot. That's why helping professions have the quickest rate of burnout. So it is a lot when we're constantly working with grief and trauma on a daily basis and multiple. So now I only see a couple clients a day, maybe 8 in the week. But yeah, my therapists are still seeing anywhere from like 12 clients, 12 sessions a week to 25.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Christina, do you work with a lot of entrepreneurs?
I do. A lot of my clients are entrepreneurs, or a lot that come to the practice as well.
Can we talk about like how entrepreneurs should be thinking about their mental health?
It should be one of the top priorities, right? Because it's our businesses. And if we're not okay, that's going to affect the business. And sometimes we'll put ourselves last to make sure everything else is taken care of. And then very quickly, we'll start to realize that wasn't the move. So whether it's just not simple things like just not making your doctor's visits, not sleeping a good amount of time, you start to realize you start to get brain fog, irritability.
I got that. I went to my doctor. I was like, I think I got like early onset dementia or something. And he was like,
You could be in mid-sentence and just be like, wait, what was I doing? What? Like,
he's
what
like,
was
are
I
you
doing?
forgetting, like, are there people you're not remembering that you should remember? And I'm like, no, it's not that. I just don't forget. I mean, I don't remember shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, you might be experiencing burnout.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how do I fix it?
Taking care of yourself, making yourself a priority. So I always say the biggest things is sleeping, being able to unplug, take that vacation when you can, celebrating every win, no matter how small. Because sometimes we get so used to and we're just on go, 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 like go to the next step. And we forget to celebrate where we are in those moments, which keep us like encouraged for the next steps. And delegation. Delegate, delegate, delegate.
How do you delegate when it's just you?
So for those who it is just them, finding supports in certain ways. A lot of times I see entrepreneurs, we kind of move in a mindset of scarcity. Like we're worried, like we're not going to have enough money. So no, I can't hire somebody to do that. No, I can't get that because I'm not going to have enough. But the reality of the situation is you can get somebody and pay them part-time, right? Like you can get a virtual person that can at least just take your calls for you. Pay them part-time, pay them minimum wage or whatever they're asking for. And if that gives you the freedom to do other things and figure out bigger ways of bringing that money into your business, then they take that task. And you don't have to do that from those small like the small things that take up a lot of your time that cause a lot of burnout because there's only but so many hours a day. So sometimes it is just hiring somebody. You can't do it full time, that's okay. 5 hours a week. Let's see how that helps.
How do you switch your mind from like a scarcity mindset to what's the opposite? I guess an abundant mindset. Like how do you, when you are a new entrepreneur and you're like, this dollar I don't know where the next dollar is going to come from. How do you not operate in scarcity?
I always encourage people to like read, to connect with mentors, coaches in some way, with other people that are in the field who are doing the same thing as you. Because why learn everything brand new and work yourself so hard when there are other people that can support you who have also already gone through it? So sometimes just having that education and that knowledge can start to change that mindset where you are.
That's real because I just had a conversation with someone maybe 3-4 weeks ago that I felt like is going to change the trajectory of like my entrepreneurship experience. And I'm like, why didn't I reach out for help sooner? I think though, because on social media, it seems like everybody want to charge you for like mentorship.
Yeah.
And you're like, then maybe I guess I am on my own because I can't pay $5,000 for this coaching program or this mentorship program. But it was just one, but sometimes I just feel like we don't ask either. Like we assume that like those are the only ways to get insight into people's businesses or for people to give you advice. And I had one conversation and I walked away. I said, girl, I got to go.
And you had that. And then from that, that's going to change what you do moving forward. Always get the education that you can at the price point that you are. Books are free. Like you can go to the library, you can read, you can ask people for suggestions on books to read or Audibles, podcasts, and then also people who are doing it, who are like you. You guys can bounce ideas off of each other. You can talk to other people because they probably want that same support in a way. And even if you guys feel like you're at the same level, at least you can start there. And then once you have a little bit more money, you have to invest in yourself. It's a business expense. Yes, some of these programs and coaches are expensive, but the right one can make all the difference.
I guess so. Like, I guess the right one is important in everything, right? Like me finding the right coach, me finding the right therapist. How do I find the right therapist?
So one, I always say you start somewhere, right? You look at pictures of profiles, you figure out what you're going in there for, see if that's part of their specialties, and then you just try. You take one step. You go there for a couple sessions. If your gut says 2 to 3 sessions, maybe I'm missing something or it's not the right connection, that's It's okay. They understand that. Then you try it with somebody else until you have the right fit to make sure that you're getting the most out of the service that you're receiving.
How do I know when I'm ready for therapy? Or could there be like, is there such thing as someone not being ready for therapy? Because like I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it, before the camera started rolling or after the camera started rolling, I started reading this book about boundaries. And I had to put it down because I wasn't ready to accept the fact that like I sucked at boundaries. And I'm like, God, I don't know if I'm ready to be held accountable in this way right now. Like, is there a such thing as someone not being ready for therapy?
Short answer, yes.
And then what do you do? But what you really need it.
It's about when that person gets to a point that they're realizing that whatever those struggles are or those challenges are interfering with their day-to-day or interfering with their life in some way, and they no longer want that interference. Even if they're not fully ready to completely jump head first into the ocean, like at least if they're in a space that they realize they need a change. Everything is just one day at a time.
Okay. Wow. I feel like I'm trying to not to use this as my personal therapy session because I know you get paid to do therapy sessions. But how have you seen therapy help entrepreneurs along their journey?
You have a non-judgmental space that is just for you, that you, all your deepest, darkest fears, your secrets, anything, traumas that are standing in your way, struggles, you can deal with it inside that therapy room. And you have somebody that's just rooting for you. Like us as therapists, we really do care. Like we leave, we still think about our clients. We still think about what can we do to bring support for this person in our next session. We research, we're studying, we're going to trainings constantly because we want to see you win. We want to see you meet the goals that you set for yourself in that same way. So it's just about starting.
What kind of goals do people set with their therapist? Is it like goals around my mental health or is it goals around like my business? Like what do you mean by
It could
that?
be kind of anything. That's sometimes when you have goals that are needed in your business, it could be affecting your mental health by like causing anxiety or you have like depressive symptoms or you have burnout. So we're going to be working with that and also specifically what's happening in your business. Like what is causing you to not go to sleep at night because that's all you're thinking about. So it's kind of intermingled, but we work together to create that treatment plan.
This conversation is so on time because I just got accepted into the Loveland Foundation in their vouchers.
Amazing.
And they expire, I think, August of next year. So for people who are watching, I just recently found out about this program called the Loveland Foundation, and they will sponsor, I think, like 7, 8, 9, I'm not sure the number, therapy sessions. So they give you a voucher, I think is worth maybe $120 per session. And you can use that to go to therapy if your therapist accepts those vouchers. And a lot of therapists do. Do you guys accept them?
No. I don't think in Delaware it's not the same. So, but we have things that are similar in the state of Delaware.
Okay. So look for like resources. So why we say that, like, and I say that to say, I've been putting it off. I'm like, girl, why are you putting, like, you don't even have to pay for it at this point. Like, just go in therapy for Black girls and start searching for your therapist.
Just do it. Don't even say, you know what, I'll look at it this weekend. What are you doing right now when you leave here and you're done for the day? Right. Just go do it. Send the email, make the call, leave a voicemail, just to start somewhere.
I had a therapist when I lived in New York, and she was all right.
Don't settle for all right.
I know, right?
Settle for like you walking out.
I'm sorry if you're
But
watching.
It's okay. We understand not everybody's a good fit. That's why all people aren't friends with each other. It's about what that like actual fit and connection is. And there is going to be somebody that's the right fit for you. So it's just you trusting that you're going to find that person.
How do I know when I found the right person?
You'll know.
I just know.
You'll know. You'll walk away. Sometimes you walk away and you're like, whew, that was rough. But you know what? I want to go back.
Wait to go
back. But I want to go back.
And then, like, how long do you normally see your clients for? Is it, like, forever?
It depends on the type of therapy that people are doing. For me, I would say, in my practice, on average, it could be anywhere from 6 months to 2 years.
Really?
On average. You know, and some people, like, I have a couple clients I've been seeing now for 5 years, 6 years since I opened the practice. And then some people are good to go after a few months. They
What
just
does good to go mean?
like they were in crisis
I'm
and they're no
healed.
longer in that same crisis,
Okay,
right? So that they're doing better or whatever goal that they needed, they've met it, or they're feeling like they have a management on whatever that struggle was.
I like that you said that they're in crisis, because I think sometimes we assume that we have to be the lowest of the lowest and the darkest of the darkest places in our lives before we seek therapy.
Why wait that long?
I know.
Why do you want to be all the way at the bottom?
Right.
Like that's still come to therapy, still go to therapy, but you don't have to wait until you've hit rock bottom. Go now. Everybody could use it the same way you go to a doctor to do your physical, your checkups. Go to a therapist, check up, get a check up on your mental health and just see where you are.
That's real. Because I used to be like, I'll probably go to therapy if I lose a parent or go through a bad breakup.
No.
But it's like
Being a business owner, all entrepreneurs should probably have a therapist.
can you
it's
say
a lot.
that to the people?
Yes. All entrepreneurs should have a therapist because it's work. It's a lot and you're doing it by yourself. So having that therapist there to kind of discuss all those things and also to make sure that you don't hit burnout. Because when you hit burnout, it's a lot more difficult to come back from it than working on yourself before you get there.
Oh, so it's possible to not burn out?
Yes. 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 It
I don't know
is.
why, just in my mind, it's like
Yes.
you become an entrepreneur, you should expect to burn out at some point.
No.
Or just you want to be a high achiever, period. Just expect burnout.
But that doesn't mean let's not make that the norm anymore. That we need to be that we need to burn out.
I need therapy.
Or we need to work until we have nothing left. No.
Let me tell you why I love working with therapists. Every email y'all send is I hope this email finds you rested and at peace. I'm like, I'm not, but thank you.
In the most beautiful regards, warmest regards. Yeah. We are. Because one little statement can make a difference in somebody's day. And we know it's tough. We go through stuff. It's tough for us as therapists behind the scenes. So we're all in it together.
Yeah, I think one thing that I'm picking up from you that I'm just literally learned about myself is that I need to change my relationship with what success and achievement looks like. I always feel like if I'm not doing something, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And I need to realize that rest is productive too. I'll be like, why am I watching TV?
Or when people are like, are you doing anything right now? And you're like, oh, well, I'm not doing anything. That's what you're doing. You're doing nothing right now because you're trying to fill your cup. You're taking care of yourself, whatever way that looks like. Or it's just your time. It's not owed to anybody. So yes, especially as Black women, we need to know too, it's okay to rest.
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like I'll be pouring from a cup that's not full.
And then what does that do?
Does it got to be full? Can it be halfway? Oh,
but
then
why?
It's going to be empty.
Exactly.
That's true.
But why would you want that? Yeah.
I really need to go to I need to change my relationship with
I'm going to check up on you. I'm going to call you tomorrow and see if you at least started looking.
I know. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sometimes accountability is just what
Can
somebody
I see
needs.
people at your firm or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Even though I'm in,
it wouldn't be me, of course.
Okay, you have people that are licensed all over?
They're in Delaware, so if you saw somebody, we do have 2 people that are also licensed in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if you just come right over the border if you want in-person sessions.
Oh, I can.
Yeah, as long as you're in the state, too.
In the state.
Yeah. Look, about to send you some info after this.
But wait, I gotta see y'all after I'm finished with my Loveland Foundation stuff. Let's talk about paying for therapy.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs are already, at least in the beginning, thinking about money.
And most of us we have to pay for health insurance because we don't have it through.
Yeah, I pay $500 a month for health insurance.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's good health insurance.
Yeah.
I just be wanting to make sure I can go to the OBGYN once a year.
No, I was paying $1,100 a month.
$1,100?
Well, for myself, my wife, and my son. Yeah. Yeah.
So for people who are, or maybe not even at the point where they even have health insurance, how do they seek out mental health services?
So a lot of therapists also work on a sliding scale.
What does that mean?
It means that they have a point that depending on where you are and how much you make or what's going on in your life, they can reduce the rate that they're charging.
Okay.
For those that don't have sliding scales, some take insurance. So even entrepreneurs that are first starting out, even having like Medicaid or other ways of getting health insurance until they purchase like whatever that private plan is, they can do it that way. And then there are also communities and nonprofits that give therapy sessions for free depending on the need of what's happening. Yeah.
Okay. So we have, I guess, a few options there. Therapy, Medicaid, insurance, or some people you just got to pay. What are your rates?
So
what's the going rate for therapy these days?
It depends on where you live. I'm going to say on average, it could be anywhere from, I would say the average is $100 to $200 a session for individuals.
Is therapy like one of those things where it's like you get what you pay for? So like, am I going to get a better therapist if I'm paying $200?
No, I wouldn't say that. A lot of times the higher price therapy sessions are specialty fields. So they can charge even more because that's their specialty. But no. It's just about the right therapist. Because there are also therapists who are there who don't want to charge more than a certain amount because the community that they serve can't afford that. So that doesn't mean that they're giving you any less than. If anything, they're giving you even more because that's what they're passionate about. Yeah.
And then how often do people usually sit in therapy sessions? So once a week? Once every other week?
It depends on the need. So once a week is like standard. Some people come in every 2 weeks. After they get to a certain point, sometimes they even split that up to like just coming in monthly to do check-ins and see where they are with those goals. Yeah.
Monthly?
Yeah, so anywhere from weekly, bi-weekly, and then monthly.
Okay. So what would you suggest? So clearly I need to go to therapy. My first step is to go on some sort of suppository. That's not the right word. What am I trying to say?
Go on some type of server that is a therapy that's going to tell you about therapists in your area. Start looking at bios. Sometimes even just going to someone you know that goes to therapy and saying like, how do you like therapy? How's your therapist? And if they're like, I love my therapist, can you give me their contact info?
Can I have the same therapist as my friends? Is that weird? What if they be talking about me in a therapy session?
So some places are not going to accept people that have dual relationships, so they're like close in that way. But for the most part, confidentiality is what we, live by. So even if we hear it, we're not discussing it. But at the same time, it's just like word of mouth. Or they might not even go to the therapist anymore, but they used to. So just finding info that way, or just looking at some bios, like who stands out. It doesn't matter why they stand out to you, like as long as you feel like, this person seems interesting, try it.
Do you suggest that me as a Black woman, I seek therapy from a Black woman?
If you feel that, this is the therapist way, right? Like switching things around.
Keep it real with me, please.
No, but if you feel like that would help a connection form quicker, then I would suggest it. Because a lot of times we feel more comfortable with people that are like us in some way, whatever way that looks like. And then we can start off on that. If you don't feel like that's something that you necessarily need, then as long as it's a great therapist, it's a great therapist. So I think it just depends on those things. For me, I've had different types of therapists. I primarily prefer to have a Black woman therapist just because I feel like they can understand some things that I don't have to teach first. But also one of my favorite therapists ever was a white woman. So, yeah.
So you'd be jumping therapists?
I've been in therapy since I was 10.
Really?
Right? Like on and off, divorces and families, new transitions in life. Like my mom was all about making sure your mental health is good to go.
So that was instilled in you from a very young... Yeah, why did you... I should have asked this at the beginning of the interview. Why did you decide to become a therapist?
Specifically because I was around a lot of people growing up that I felt like got lost because they didn't have the right supports. And I wanted to figure out ways that I could assist and help people who are struggling so they don't have to do it by themselves. And then the biggest thing, even more specific, people that are in my own communities, I hate to see them struggling. And for a very long time, that was like the only way. You kind of just stay quiet, you keep pushing, you work harder. But a lot of times that led to so much struggle, so much stuff through family systems that have caused so many other issues later on. And I just wanted to help that in some way, whichever way I could.
And you feel like the work that you're doing is making a change there?
I do. I do. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. It's always beautiful to feel like you're making an impact, especially in the ways that you've wanted to. And it's also awesome to hear you've been in therapy since you were 10. Or like in and out of therapy.
Yeah.
You're seeing therapists. I don't hear that often. Like clearly, I'm like 30 and I'm like, oh, like how do I go to therapy?
Yeah.
Because there's like such a stigma around it. I feel like in our communities, what do you do or what does your firm do to kind of break down the stigmas around mental health and people seeking out therapy?
We're constantly educating. We're putting information out on our social media pages, Rising Hope Therapy, Instagram. We're making sure that places like churches will go and we'll do education as well. Groups, women's groups, others, like when I'm thinking of marginalized communities who are usually the least trusting when it comes to therapy, rightfully so, because of just things they've had to go through. Educating and sharing knowledge so that they can see it for themselves.
Yeah. Well, I definitely feel like after this episode, I have a lot of work that I need to do. I am going to, and you can check on me, but don't check on me tomorrow. Like maybe shoot me an email next week.
Fair. Okay. A week.
Like give me a week.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely have made some steps towards, because I really like, I feel burnt out. And I don't like that for me.
No. I don't like it for you either.
I feel tired all the time. And I'm like, girl, you got enough sleep. I do get enough sleep though. So I don't know what's going on.
You can still be burnt out. Even if you're sleeping, that's even a sign. You still feel like you're so exhausted even though you're sleeping appropriate amounts. That's also a sign. So just taking care of yourself because your business is going to flourish while you're flourishing, just the same.
Right. And the thing is, that's why I go to the gym. Like I convince myself that like, if I'm not okay physically, then my business won't be okay, right? Like, and I need to apply that same principle to my mental health as well.
Yeah.
And I guess because
the gym is great. Like that also helps, when it comes to mental health. But there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just always feel like I can get myself out of bed and I can get the work done. Maybe I'm fine.
That sounds so common to so many of my clients. Like, well, I can still do it, but why would you want to do it in that way? Why would you want to feel like you are having to push and pull and work harder than when you didn't feel burnt out or when you knew that you were in really healthy spaces? Why?
I'm so mad because I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, this could be easier. Like,
it's like, why wouldn't you want it to
this.
be exactly? Why wouldn't you want it to be easier?
Wow, this has been extremely insightful, and I think that this conversation is on par with all of the other conversations where I feel like I have work to do afterwards. Christina,
don't we all though? Well, seriously, we all do. We all have work. We're always constantly growing and learning, but it's what you do with that knowledge that you get. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you for the time. And also, like, thank you for creating a space where I can just feel comfortable and, like, people watching. I'm like, I need help. I need therapy.
But that's real, and people connect with that because someone else is sitting there like, me too, girl. Me too. Yeah. So I get it.
Wow. Christina, as we wrap up, what are some things, I know we talked a lot about mental health. We also talked about your journey as an entrepreneur. What are some things that you would like to leave aspiring or even current entrepreneurs with?
I would say that if you are in business, answer a need, but make sure it's something that you're passionate about. Because passion is what's going to get you through those tough nights, what's going to get you through those moments when you're like, am I even doing this right? Should I just stop right now? You'll always have your passion to come back to. So taking that first step, not being scared of failure, because even when we fail, that's our biggest teacher. We learn, we become resilient, and we figure out another way to be flexible and do even better, which also causes sustainability. So it's just taking that first step and allowing yourself to always be driven by that passion and remembering your why you started.
Wow.
Yeah.
You give me so much like hope and confidence that like, especially like thinking back to your sweet moment, that I'll feel confident in what I'm doing one day. Like I look forward to feeling that way, and I feel like it's real, like it's a real thing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
This has been great. Not just like us talking, but even just me, what I'm walking away with.
Wow.
So thank you,
Christina. We're going to wrap up. But first, we got something special for this episode, right? Okay, so this is the last episode of season 2.
Awesome.
So we're going to pop a bottle to celebrate.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Woo! This episode is not sponsored by Woof, but maybe one day it will be.
I love it.
That looked like all bubbles. Took the glass.
Thank you. I'm so happy I get to be part of this celebration.
Cheers.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for being our final and literally, like last but definitely not least, for sure. So
thank
much
you for
impact.
having me.
I feel like I am, as a result of this conversation, I'm really ready to take steps towards becoming a better version of me. Like I already think I'm great.
That. That's what I love to hear. Yes. Already know you're great, and also know there's always room for growth.
Yeah. Thank you, Christina.
Cheers.
And I hope that you've enjoyed just the entire season as much as I have. I've said it over and over again. I leave every interview ready to get to work. Not only myself, but the crew as well. Sometimes they text me and say, Khadija, yesterday's episode really made me want to work harder. So I really, really hope that as you have been through this journey with us, that you also have those same feelings as well. And keep making money, honey. Woo! We're done.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's a wrap on season.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode, the last episode of season 2 of the Let's Talk Money Honey podcast with me, Khadija Bingham. I hope that you found today's conversation with Christina insightful. Entrepreneurship isn't easy, but it's the real experiences and raw moments where true growth happens. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow hustlers and bosses. And if you're not already, make sure you're following us on Instagram. Everything will be linked in the details below. All additional resources can also be found in the episode notes. Until next time, keep hustling, keep thriving, and keep making money, honey. Woo!